Hello, everyone, and welcome to General Damage episode 84. Today's special, and if you know why, it's Will's birthday.
I still fucking hate you. I knew this was gonna fucking happen. It's just,
We had a previous false start. Unfortunately, today we are sans Nick because of some really fucking weird audio stuff that we can't fix because none of us have a degree in that.
It's fucking annoying. It's one of those things where it just takes one little thing to totally fucking derail a process. So hopefully we're able to figure out what's up and try and get that fixed. Because that would be awesome. That'd be awesome if we didn't have any technical issues. So we'll see what we can do.
Oh yeah, but we have to live with them this time. Hopefully we'll get them done next week because it's good to have three really people. Is. So. Fun thing, though, I want to talk about real quick. If you've watched or seen episode 83, you'll notice there's a very special thumbnail.
Oh man, it's a good.
So, and for people who haven't seen it yet, what it is it's if you ever see the, it's called "It's Goofy Time" is the meme, and it's actually from a comic, and I gotta remember the name because it's a dad who works at Disneyland. And he's basically comes home drunk with a goofy head on.
It's terrifying.
Gotta beat his kid. And so, yeah, It's Goofy Time is it is terrifying. And the thing is, though, it comes from a series of exploitable comics. They're single panel, and they're called The Parking Lot is Full. And, it's a meme. Like, anytime Steam comes around, you'll see it. Someone created a template, actually. Sorry. Where they blanked out the original. Now, the version I'm using is someone did a more impressive art remake of it with a better perspective. And so the funny story behind this whole thing, though, is I told Will at the end of episode 83 after we're done recording that was going to be the JPEG. And Will, you almost got off scot-free because what happened was I was dead tired. I came home from my flight from California, and I put together the JPEG. And it was just a picture of Costco, and the original title was the Costco reunion. And then I was falling asleep, and I was on my phone, and I was on Pinterest, and I look at my phone, and It's Goofy Time pops up, and it's just, and I just look at it, and I go, "Huh, that's funny," and then I go, "Oh shit, it's Goofy Time." And so then I have to I have to wake up early, which I did today, and I put it all together.
Impressive. It is definitely one of the funniest thumbnails we have, and best describes my feeling about that skill tree. I still look at it because I finally got to level 2 of one of the skill trees. And I just stared at it, and I was like, "This is actually awful. This is miserable."
So the best part, though, was I was trying to find By the way, it's got a picture of Will from a party, and he was I can't remember I needed to find a picture with your eyes
I know exactly what party it is. That was at a friend's place. It wasn't so much a party. We were just kind of acting like idiots and stuff. I think in that photo, I have one of those glow stick rings on my head, and I have some glow stick tomahawk and some other glow stick weapon in my hand, and I'm just acting like a fucking idiot. Definitely a flattering picture. Mm-hmm.
Well, so the thing is, though, Will, you know what the best part is? The it sucks ass and you should feel bad. Was something you said to me once.
I was wondering. I was like, that sounds exactly like something I would say.
No, it is, because it's something you said to me once about magic. We were talking about magic. No, it sucks ass and you should feel bad.
Yep, those words do tend to come out my mouth. Aggressively.
So, there you go. Man. Probably, and so, by the way, whenever you listen to our podcast, people, episode 83 is a bit different. You probably already listened to it because this is 84, but if you haven't, go back because we're all in the same room, which is cool because we don't normally get to do that.
We even mentioned one more time, and it's basically tradition. And it's kind of
Yeah.
cool to think of it as, as a potential tradition, because it is something that, like, other podcasts have that. I say other podcasts have that luxury to be, all kind of located in the same area. That it's easy enough for everybody to kind of meet up. Either they work for the same company, so the company does a podcast, or they all kind of live in the same area, so they're able to do it. We just don't have the luxury right now. So it's always kind of a cool thing we can do when we can meet up and actually do a podcast together in the same room. There's definitely something more alive about a podcast like that, because you just feed off of each other so naturally.
Yeah. Now, granted, we also had a live audience because it was in our hotel room, which we were sharing with friends. And I think it's funny though, because like a lot of them were introvert people, so they're all very quiet for the most part. It's like they weren't there until I told them.
Exactly. And when they did, man, they had a good time with it. I think generally they had a fun time. So
yeah, and the best part is, as we get there, we'll eventually, maybe one day we'll just bring on different guests.
That's something. Down the road, as we look at it, is a potential. People we feel have a good fit or can bring something that we just don't bring to the table. Having Ash on there is always great, because she does bring a lot of different things. Well, she has way different interests than kind of all of us. And that's great. Like, we definitely have things that totally line up, but then there are other things that just she has a much stronger passion for. So, it's fun. It is fun when we can get other people on that we do gel with. It definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, every episode's different. We're getting a little bit better. I mean, last episode, it was the same thing as the last time we're all in the same room. We rambled about stupid shit for about,
minutes. Yeah.
20 minutes. I mean, hey, if you want that Costco sponsorship, you gotta get in there deep. Let them know you're dedicated.
Deep. One day we'll just sit at Costco, inside of Costco with the table, and do a live recording there. There we go.
Oh my god. We probably could. We could find like one of those extra like dinner tables. We'll just go buy like one of those family meal packs that comes with turkey.
Dude, we could easily do it. We'd probably get a lot of strange looks, and at one point we probably would have to pack up.
Hey, if we could go for a full hour.
Dude, we could go for a full hour. We'd hella win. It'd be funny, but I think it'd be definitely more of a joke for us than anything else. But whatever. We could. Who knows what will happen?
I mean, hey, if you ever listen to
I have,
podcast,
yeah.
Okay, those fuckers record on the fly in hotel rooms, in the green room, in the back of pickup trucks. I can record on the Costco.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, though, besides California trips and whatnot, very good week to be Sony.
Dude, seriously. So again, Sony looking real good. Real good.
What was it? It was the Paris game thing or something like that?
There's a... Can't remember the full name. The name of it's a convention, if I'm not mistaken.
Paris Games Week.
There we go.
Paris Games Week. I just googled that. But yeah, like, shit. The Sony knocked it out of the park. Let's see. Just to like skim over some stuff, we had a story trailer for the new Spider-Man game, which completely shakes up how I thought that story was gonna go.
Yeah, it looks better. It looks better. I'll say that.
Yeah, and then there was the interview for Last of Us 2. That that's huge. I think there was a God of War trailer.
There may have been. I know there was stuff for Detroit Become Human, which was sweet. Soup sweet. Delicious.
I mean, if Ashley is any indication, though, she's told me time and time again that game might be garbage because of who the director is.
It is a lot. It is done in the style of that guy, and in all his games, there's a very distinct style and very distinct storytelling elements. They definitely change and build upon each other and are different from each other, but they all you can just tell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying it's right at the bat it's a bad game, but what I am saying is like
it comes with its cool. own baggage. That's the big thing.
Yeah. Let's see, what else was there? There was Spelunky 2.
Yeah, that was something I wasn't I finally got to watch a little bit of it. Didn't get to watch a hell of a lot, but yeah, Spelunky 2. All right.
And then there was Guacamelee too.
Talk about a game that kind of is its own little cult classic. Guacamelee is actually like a really fun game, and I'm glad it's getting a second one. I'm sure the people that have played the shit out of it are fucking excited.
Yeah. Let's see. Monster Hunter World had a trailer.
We kind of already expected that.
It didn't need one.
And to just kind of to continue with that, the fucking the exciting news that that Sony fans got for Monster Hunter World, the fact that you can play as Aloy and get the kind of Watcher armor or skin for your cat, and it looks like you actually get one of her bows. I think that's super sweet. Capcom really had a good partnership there.
I think my favorite part is like they've evolved it to the point now where it is actually Aloy.
Yeah, no, it's full on Aloy, and that feels great.
And then, of course, too, can we be real for a second about Monster Hunter World? Like, Monster Hunter World is looking to be an excellent game, and it's not because of the amount of trailers they've put out, because you could always say that it's oversaturated, but it's the content of the trailers. They've only had one trailer that says, here's what the story looks like, but all the other footage and stuff is literally just playing the game, and that is how you do it, because there's so much gameplay that I want to see, and there's all these cool things that I'm gonna try to do.
It is best to give the players what they want. It is the best thing you can do.
And then on top of it, like my coworker, or my friend who is going to be my coworker again, Dylan, he's like, yeah, I've never played like Monster Hunter seriously, and he got like the collector's edition, the digital collector's edition. I was like, dude. I only got the standard, by the way. I didn't know they were going to do it, but I was like, it's going to be great, because no matter when you buy this game, it's going to always have shit tons of content. And even if you breeze through the quote-unquote story, like, that's never the end of the game. As long as there's a solid G rank, it's so expansive. There's so many cool things to do.
It's one of those games that if I can hope for one thing for them to do, it would be go the free content route like they did with Generations and for Ultimate. I hope they go that with like the kind of, either was it monthly or seasonal releases.
I have a feeling that if there is any level of paid content that you have to get, I think it would literally be story only.
Sure, it's kind of a bummer. Like, but I hope that's DLC and not just like weird, goofy paid content. Like, it actually is good story content.
Well, like, here's the thing: like, all the cool stuff, right? Like the extra armor and the new missions and stuff. That's usually free because it's literally just a mission, right? It's not, it's all extraneous extra things, and they've been pretty good about it. I would love to see, hey, here's $10. Here's an extra 4 hours of extra campaign, right? or something like that, I'd buy it because at least it'd be
right
worth it.
with the amount of hours that
with
Monster Hunter players can put into a game, especially if it's good. Like that type of content's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, to be real though, I bought a copy of Generations. I'm probably gonna trade it back in.
It's not a great Monster Hunter game.
No, I had more fun with 4 Ultimate. I was even thinking about just starting a new character in 3 Ultimate.
I don't blame you.
Like 3 Ultimate had less features, but it was still a good game.
Indeed.
Yeah. Other cool stuff. Let's see. We saw the Shadow of the Colossus trailer. It looks like Shadow of the Colossus, but prettier. I'm cool with that. And then there was the Destiny
Trials of
expansion,
Osiris.
Curse of Osiris
Finally,
trailer.
more content coming out December 5th.
And then there was the Frozen Wilds
for Horizon, which I'm super
and that
excited
looked pretty
about.
Cool. And, before we get into anything new, one thing that I wanted to point out was we got a new trailer for God of War, right? And we've talked about that game a few times, but the cool thing is the God of War trailer is... The thing I'm liking about it is they're not trying to sell God of War as the huge, gritty action games that they used to be. They've said before, like last year they said this is a story-driven game. It behaves differently. And, the new trailer, you're having a fight, but it's not like... The fight isn't just, look, it's Kratos and he's
it's more than that, Shane.
Fighting.
It's not the spammy combo-ness that the other God of Wars have been. The kind of more over-the-shoulder combat, very, very kind of Gears of War-like in that aspect, looks cool. Looks good.
I also like that the kid, he's not useless in the... Like, he's got a bow, he runs around, he fights with you, and I liked that in the combat because that's the thing, is it's... The whole story is you're a dad. You learned things by teaching this kid. And it's cool to see that because we're not getting the same old type of God of War. We're getting a fresh God of War. And that's exciting. Granted, it's been delayed for a while, so whenever the game comes.
I'm just hoping that it ends up being good. That's kind of my only worry is that it's not going to be a good game because of delays. Delays always make me worried when it comes to video games because they typically mean more problems and a number of times do suffer. So I'm just hoping that that fear can be laid to rest when it finally is released.
Yeah. Did you see the trailer for Hong Kong Massacre?
Not.
Okay, so it's the one game that's new that stood out where I had gameplay footage. And it's not a first-person shooter.
That's what I was going to think it was.
But it's an isometric top-down shooter. Like, you need a look. The trailer is very cool. It looks like you're like a Chinese hitman, And, it's got combat that's very reminiscent of, the old Grand Theft Auto.
Or Hotline Miami.
I was just thinking that, and that's really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's kind of this. Yeah, I wouldn't say a trend. It's there are companies that are starting to look at kind of the old way games were made, like the old look for games, and kind of in a sense bringing them up to date. And something like this, I think it's interesting. I think it is interesting that it is going to be more realistic, with a bunch of air quotes there, unlike Hotline Miami. But if it's fun, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Is it part of the John Woo kind of franchise or storyline? Hard Boiled
I'm not
and all
sure.
that. because it has that feel to it.
I mean, it's just I like seeing this because I like top-down shooter. You know, I like that genre. I like playing those types of games, and you know, this is a great way for Sony to be like, hey, we can push our game engine in a way that isn't just first-person, like, visual experience. Because that's actually one of the things about top-down shooters is it's like when you go with that 8-bit look, it's kind of hard to see shit at times.
It really is. The twin-stick shooter approach to it, I think, is a cool idea. Like I think, you know, it's a game where I want to see more as it kind of is more shown. Because I hope it does well.
Yeah. Now, did you see the trailer for Ghost of Tsushima?
I saw a little bit of it. There was one I should have looked at more because it looked good.
I have no idea what that game's really about. I mean, like, if anyone's seen the trailer, it's a game where you play as a samurai. It's obviously a tale of revenge. And it looks like it's basically when the Chinese started to invade Japan. It's either the Chinese or the Mongols. And, you know, that looks really cool. And they said in a interview, or like when they're talking about it, it's like, oh, it's going to be open world. It's going to be a little bit more stealthy, right? And it's interesting because, like, they're like, oh, it's a samurai game, though he kind of looks like a ninja at the end. But, you know, maybe people are just making early assumptions. Sure. It looked pretty.
I will say, because it seems mostly like a cinematic trailer with some elements of potentially game engine footage. It is a very pretty looking game. It's definitely hard to tell if it is going to be more, if what we're seeing is from their engine or just rendered footage.
Some of it definitely seems like it's in-game engine.
Definitely.
And even if like that, it's not a bad engine.
If the engine looks this quality, it'll be a sexy game.
Oh yeah. But we'll have to see. It's slated for 2018, so Oh, never mind. I'm looking at it right now. 1274, samurai warriors are legendary defenders of Japan until the fearsome Mongol Empire invades the island of Tsushima. Okay. That's interesting too. Because they've picked an island that's not, Osaka. Or, Kyoto or any of like the big areas.
Sucker Punch. That company sounds familiar.
Oh yeah, that's right, because it is a Sucker Punch title.
What other things have they done?
They've probably done some cool stuff. I mean,
Infamous Second Son.
Infamous.
So they've done the Infamous
okay
franchise, Street Fighter X Tekken, the Sly Collection.
Okay.
So they're known for the Sly franchise. Also was it Vector and Stan long ago in 2008. So
okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good repertoire.
I will say it's definitely out of their wheelhouse because, with the exception of probably Infamous, their style is definitely more stylized. But I mean, it looks cool, and we haven't heard anything from this company in a while. So yeah, it's one of those I want to see more of it. Yeah, definitely towards the end of the trailer, they looked more like in-game footage than anything.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I mean, though, crap, it looks ridiculous. Like, just from the way they're setting it up too, it's like, okay, so you're playing a stealth game in a country overrun by invading forces. I feel like this is kind of the Assassin's Creed no one wanted, just by premise base.
It is interesting,
but,
the setting and kind of some of the shots they showed to make that a open world, because Elevation will feel different. Will feel really different. Elevation will be climbing on buildings or being on cliffs, and if we're going through kind of more rural areas, hiding in rice paddy fields will be pretty cool to like kind of the stealth elements. Yeah, it looks exciting. It is also a genre of games that hasn't seen much in the way of light in years, not since I think the PS2 era.
Yeah. But, like we said before, this feels like they're really going back to grassroots early PlayStation games.
Going to something that they know has worked. Going that kind of open world route, and making the story and the world you're in kind of feel real and alive. I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, out of all this stuff, what are you really looking forward to?
With a given Monster Hunter, of course. Definitely want to play. Definitely excited for Last of Us 2. Story. The first one's story so powerful. I would like to see more for this game. Ghost of I'll mispronounce the other name, so I won't even say it. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. I looked at it, I was like, nah. So the new Sucker Punch title.
Ghost of Tsushima.
I didn't want to mispronounce it because I know I'd fuck it up pretty badly.
I got you.
Yeah, I think those kind of definitely take the cake. Definitely observing what Detroit Becomes Human does, because it can be a good game. It can be a good game.
I think this time around, if it's real choices that actually impact how the story goes, and if the story stays simple, I think it can be cool. Ashley showed me Indigo Prophecy.
Prophecy is it is an all over the place game.
Yeah, and I think that's where she holds a big grudge. I've watched people play Heavy Rain.
I love Heavy Rain.
I think Heavy Rain's very cool. I think Heavy Rain has some plot holes that aren't
to be fair,
terrible.
A lot of his games have these kind of weird plot holes. Not gonna lie, I never played Beyond Two Souls, but I watched gameplay of it. I watched a full playthrough of it, and it was a story I kind of liked. I kind of got behind it. It's interesting that the entirety of the game is told out of sequence, and so it's not until you basically have played through the game that you can actually see the kind of whole story for this character from start to finish without it being told so mismatchedly.
Well, that's my thing. Is it's like he sounds like he has very interesting stories, but when he tries to put them in game format, they don't always hold. Now with Detroit, though, Detroit wasn't even going to be a game.
It was
a demonstration trailer. And granted, it wasn't the greatest demonstration trailer. It was very
pretty
generic. it was pretty, but it was like, it's like, oh, I'm a sentient female AI robot. This is totally not predictable. But at the same time, we'll see more. Hopefully, like you said, we'll see as the game comes through. Out of all the titles, I've pre-ordered Monster Hunter. I can't sing that game's praises, but I can't sing its praises enough. But really, I'm just in it for Spider-Man right now.
I like it. Looks good, but it's a movie game. It's tied to a movie franchise-ish thing.
Well, actually, it's purely just in the comics right now. is where this movie, where this game sits. But like my thing with it is this: I just want to play a Spider-Man game. I haven't played a good one since Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing: as much as I like The Last of Us as a game, I refuse to play that game, because I need to be able to pause so I can cry. Like I need to be able to pause the video. Because it's so sad. The first one was just so sad.
Shane, you can pause, or you can just cry throughout it, and it's okay.
I can't aim a gun and cry.
It's all right, man. All you do is you go to the dashboard. It's like pausing. It's fine. You have a PlayStation. You go to the dashboard. You give yourself a nice, good cry, and then you find your courage again, and you hit that button so that 2 minutes later to 5 minutes later, you can have yourself another good cry.
That's the Last of Us is just so sad. Like that game was like,
dude,
really sad.
What makes you think that the second one is gonna be any less gut wrenching?
I don't know. It's gonna hurt. I mean, I remember watching the first 15 minutes of Last of Us.
Damn.
And I was just like, this isn't a game.
No joke. That is the most real, sound effects of someone, dying. Like, that gurgling sound is just...
God.
It hits you. It hits you real hard. It's real uncomfortable. And you're real sad real fast. That game starts off at, an 11.
I think the thing that got me, though, is just that's his daughter. She can't die. Stop it. Stop it.
But
Stop
she can. And she do, Shane.
Yeah.
She do.
Yeah. Though, yeah, so PlayStation has a killer lineup. I haven't heard much about Xbox. I'm not sure if it's anywhere as heavy.
Well, so I think if theirs isn't heavy, I'm okay with that, because I think at E3 they had a really saucy lineup. It was real good. So
that's true.
But if they show us anything new, it's something where I probably I need to look up this one, see if they did have a press show, which I'd be shocked if they didn't, because I am interested in Xbox's lineup, because I feel like they've been having a rough go because they started so far behind compared to PS4, but I think they're making up for it here and there. They still are behind, but I think that's fine. I think they can actually, they can get there.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're hurting at the moment. I don't think. I just, at the same time, it's like, all I've heard from Paris Games Week is, oh man, look at Sony just killing it. And that's cool to hear. By the way, BlizzCon's happening.
Yay!
Well, no, I just realized that, wait, BlizzCon's BlizzCon's super soon. And then I'm looking at their website right now, I'm like, wait, is BlizzCon? No, BlizzCon. And I'm like, nope, opening week has already happened.
Oh
my god.
BlizzCon, to me, doesn't do anything for me, and I think it's because I have such a low investment in Blizzard these days. I rebought Diablo 3 just so I could play the Necromancer, and I played that, to death. And with most things that are kind of in that vein, that game, much like when I first played it, just does not keep my attention. It's not that it's a bad game. It's just there is not enough content for that game.
I mean, to be real though, Blizzard is doing really well for themselves.
They do not need me as a buyer, because Overwatch is super successful for them. HOTS is doing fantastically. It is probably one of the few MOBAs out there where the community isn't as caustic. I won't say is not caustic because it's a MOBA and that's just kind of the game design of it.
It's funny.
Hearthstone's doing fantastic for itself now. It's gotten back on its feet.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, BlizzCon's one of the few really cool conventions because it's just about one company. Like no other game company can do that right now. And you know, like I was watching a trailer and the guy representing BlizzCon's like, yeah, you know, there's no other convention like this, and I was like, that's a bit full of yourself. And then I thought about it and I was like, shit, there is no convention
what
like
other
BlizzCon.
company could really do that? And I could think of like
maybe Valve,
but I don't even think Valve would do it. They don't need to do it. Their business model is no longer in designing games, but facilitating game accessibility.
You sound like Dash.
Yes, because in that sense, that is what they do. They know. Yeah, like it's one of those like I mean, sound like Dashel because it's in this sense, it's not wrong.
I mean, the only thing that Valve has currently is the Dota World's Championship, right? And that's, you know, competing with League of Legends, which is actually having it, which I think their Worlds is right now too. But you know, just for Blizzard, like it's just about their games, and you know they have some of the most popular games, on the market. World of Warcraft, Overwatch, StarCraft, Diablo, Hearthstone, and now they also have Destiny 2, which, you know, it's not their game,
right?
Facilitating it online.
So yeah, it's still an Activision-owned game. It's just, you know, they're facilitating it through BNet, which is good.
Yeah, and being able to get Bungie-related items though at Blizzard or BlizzCon, that's probably
pretty
really
cool. Like, you know, that is probably the one thing I'm like subtly jelly about. But I'm not going, oh man, I wish I went to BlizzCon for this one game that isn't even their game.
You know, it's really funny though. It's like Blizzard is slowly taking over the esports racket. In a sense.
Yeah, they have it. They have easily. They've kind of the multiplayer market in that aspect. They've kind of done very well with. So, you know.
Well, I mean, think about it this way, right? They have 4 actually of the biggest championships, right? Between the Overwatch one, you know, Hearthstone and HOTS, and then on top of it, StarCraft 2.
Oh yeah, still going, still strong.
Yeah. And then, you know, think about this for a second. CSGO, right? It's probably one of the only other huge competitive shooters out there with its own tournament, and that's partially fan run. And then, of course, you know, if you look at Riot Games, sure, League of Legends is cool, and Valve has Dota, right? But, you know, TF2 never took off.
No, because TF2 is which is funny because people do, like, early on compared Overwatch to TF2, but there is definitely a big difference between them. You know, Team Fortress, I think, always was a fun, just meant to be a fun, casual, goofy shooter that you know you could play. That there kind of were no. I wouldn't say there were. You know, I'd say there weren't any competitive aspirations to that game. Like I didn't ever feel like it.
I mean, I know that, but like, it's just ironic because TF2 is bred its own genre. The team class shooter really is Team Fortress 2 at this point. Like, it's the granddaddy. And I mean, I played a shit ton of TF2.
We all did, because at one point we got it for free, and it was just like, well, shit, man, I guess we'll start playing this. Hell yeah.
Dude, no. You're talking to the guy who actually bought TF2 individual.
Not from the orange box?
Not from the orange box.
All right.
And I remember when it went free to play, and I was like, I'm kind of pissed. And then Valve was like, here's some compensation. Stop being a bitch. And I was like, okay. And, you know, I just like going back to Blizzard though, right? Fuck, like
Yeah.
BlizzCon's happening, and this is the 11th year they're doing it. It hasn't even been around that long. Like I think it's younger than Penny Arcade.
Yes, because I think there's Penny Arcade early 2000s. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, let's take a look. We're gonna Wikipedia PAX. Created in 2004.
Yeah,
So it's been around for 13 years. And, you know, that's... Okay, let's think about this for a second. What's the other big events? Right,
Rooster Teeth Expo. Yeah,
RTX. And that's...
Yeah,
RTX
it's super young compared to it. We have GDC and E3.
And you know what the messed up thing, though, is? E3 isn't even... Like, E3 and GDC aren't even really, like, conventions.
They're expos in that sense. Yeah, same with CES
like
is also like another full-on expo.
Yeah. RTX was... The first one was in the year 2000, I think. 2011. Or 2012. No, 2011. RTX 2011 is the first one. That's fucking crazy to think about. We were I just started college.
Yeah.
Right? And that's wild. And then of course, I mean GDC's probably been going on forever, but that's the Game Developers Conference. If anything, that's not even really like an expo or anything. That's more of a like, hey, developers, people who work in this, we should talk. And then of course, you know, as G4 put it, E3 used to be the Super Bowl.
It used to.
It used to be the Super Bowl of games, which was like, wow. And I actually wish Nick was here to talk about it because, you know, you guys did PAX for like, what?
It was definitely a number of years in a row. 4 or 5 sounds about right. I want to say. Yeah, dude.
That's wild. I mean, shit. But yeah, Blizzard's like, oh yeah, look at us. We're going on 11 years. I'm like, you've been doing this shit since 2006.
Yeah, definitely. Fuck. Like they've been able to sustain it, and that's impressive because, in retrospect, they are a small company, but they have such popular products, and they produce quality, and with Activision kind of keeping them in check, they've actually been able to release product at a consistent base, which I think has been good.
Dude, I just checked this right now on their website. Blizzard has 6 esports events. Oh, they have Overwatch is split into 2 things. There's the World Cup, and then there's the Overwatch League. And then there's the Hearthstone Championship. Heroes of the Storm Championship, which is global. StarCraft 2 World Championship. And then apparently World of Warcraft Arena.
Oh, yeah. I guess that is a thing still.
Has a championship. Fuck. This is a guy who used to play a lot of Arena in World of Warcraft. That and Battlegrounds. Fuck. And that's, you know, once again, good for Blizzard. There is no event like it. And I mean, granted, you know, I don't think... Then again, this is kind of the toss-up, right? Because Blizzard doesn't do... I don't think Blizzard was at Paris Games Week.
Not when they have an event that close to it. There's no way.
Yeah. And then on top of it, like, Blizzard has a very small presence at, like, PAX East. From what I know.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they don't... they only hit the major PAX, really.
Yeah, PAX Prime has a booth, if I remember correctly. Or sometimes they have a booth. Yeah.
I mean, even though Blizzard is technically a small company, like they don't have to compete the same way the other companies do.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, fucking wild when you think about it. Then again, at the same time, you know, we're talking just about Blizzard. If we talk about Sony or Microsoft,
right?
You know, they're not really. They're more game producers than
right.
Like, developers.
They publish, release, and do advertisement. Basically, that they'll handle that, and it's kind of just up to whatever subsidiary that they kind of have working with them, working for them, whatever. Yeah, and so yeah, they're definitely like realistically, they've never been game developers. They've always been tech companies that just kind of they understood where the market trend was going.
They bought into console gaming,
right?
It paid dividends.
And in some cases, it was kind of rough and rocky. Sony. In other cases, they understood where things were going, and it just worked. It worked for them. Microsoft. It just kind of worked for them.
Yeah. Speaking of games, though, you been playing anything interesting?
Outside of Fortnite and Destiny, I wouldn't say anything interesting. I'm finally starting to play XCOM 2 because that's kind of been on my backlog and I've wanted to play it. Currently it's the season for me where I'm just kind of waiting for either DLC to come out for a game or waiting for a new game that I want to sink my teeth into. Fortnite was that way for a little while there because I was in that slump of Destiny being a giant piece of shit, and kind of Fortnite's also kind of hit that wall too. And it mostly was because their Halloween event really just kind of took the piss out of me. That I was I just kind of want to do whatever. So I started playing XCOM 2, which is funny because it's a hell old game.
It's a hell old game, but it's still a solid game.
I just want to fucking yell at the game a lot. I'm so mad. Yeah. How about you, man?
So I have a game. I haven't been able to play it yet. It's a game I've actually already beaten before. It's Odin Sphere.
Odin Sphere. Excellent.
Yeah. It came out on the PS4, right? And I was like, okay, I have to get my hands on it. I finally was able to get my hands on a pre-owned copy. Haven't played it yet. It's downloaded on my PS4, so I have the time now. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play this before I buy anything else. And granted, also I have the ability to buy pretty much anything right now. So.
Oh, that's store credit,
with GameStop. So, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play this, and then I have The Wolf Among Us, and I need to sit down with Ashley and play it because I told her she could watch me play it because I've never beaten it or played it. So I was like, okay, and so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But there's one game I want to play, but I don't. I like it. Right now, I'm not gonna buy anything unless I can get it pre-owned. Because I'm getting back a seasonal job.
Oh, all right.
And so I'm gonna have the employee discount on top of the power-up discount. And so I'm like, okay. And Gundam Versus came out.
Yeah, it did.
It looks cool, and I want to try it.
Yeah.
I know its control scheme's pretty shit. I've read the reviews. I've read all the reviews. Everyone's like, if you're a diehard Gundam fan, you'll enjoy the game. If you want to get into it competitively, you're gonna need to break your fingers.
My biggest problem with this, and it's kind of been the series of Gundam kind of versus games since Gundam Battle Assault 2. I love that game, by the way. It's still fucking amazing.
No, it's a great game.
Is that they decided to go with the 3D route on the combat system, so X, Y, and Z axis as opposed to a 2D fighter, and I think that's great and all, but the material from which the Gundam games are coming from are from 2D designs, and it's just one of those things where I'm like, these games I think benefit better from them, if they want to pull from what Marvel vs. Capcom or Street Fighter have done. Make the character models 3D, keep it on a 2D fighting system. Even Mortal Kombat and Injustice have done that. Do that system, but keep it in a 2D fighting spectrum. It is a lot easier game to play. It is a lot more fun game to play than this 3D, thing.
Well, so, I'm okay with a Gundam game like this, but here's my issue. It's not a game with a actual, real heavy storyline or campaign mode. And I think that's where it's going to fail, because the thing is, it's cool to play Gundam and, fight other people with other Gundams, but the issue is there's so many to pick from in this game. And it's very obvious that some of them are more powerful than the others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's got, an over-complicated lineup, and it's okay, so you basically have all of the Gundams Zaku from Wing. That by itself
it easily is.
And then they have 00 and Unicorn and Seed, and apparently Seed Destiny. And I'm
if I remember correctly, they also have
what else is there?
Was it Blood Iron Orphans? Blood something Orphans. Iron Blood Orphans. Thank you. Because they have Barbados in there.
And oh Jesus. And that's my thing with it is I want to play the game, right? But at the same time, I am a little bit put off because it's shit, that's so many Gundams. And, obviously, if I have the choice between playing, Heavy Arms and playing Sandrock, I think we both know that everyone's going to pick Heavy Arms.
Let's even call it out what it is. If you have the choice between playing Death Scythe or G Gundam, most people will probably look at me there's only one of those that you should really pick, and that's Death Scythe. You, Shane, I know would pick G.
Yeah,
for the most part. And
I know. I would pick G Gundam because I would love to hit someone with shiny finger.
But the majority would be dude, I'd play Death Scythe Hell Custom as much as I can, as long as I can, and as hard as I can. It's the same as you're given an option between, you can either play Char's Custom Zaku, or you could play as Epion. I mean, you're gonna play just Epion.
Oh my god.
Or Tallgeese 3.
Yeah, right.
These are Gundams.
I was actually just about to say, if you have the choice to play Tallgeese or any other Zaku,
you're gonna pick Tallgeese.
You're gonna pick Tallgeese.
It doesn't take much of a rocket scientist to figure it out. So it's a Gundam it's a Gundam game where I just feel like there's a lot going against it, because people want to play the cooler, more badass Gundams, and you have this kind of chintzy amount of shitty Gundams, and that's why I think Battle Assault 2 is such a fine Gundam game, because it's here are the 6 predominant Gundams for these different shows, and then there are a few that were weird, playing as a ball, but you got to pick. It was a hard choice, because you're ooh, what is the cool Gundam I want to play this time? There were clearly some that were more broken than others, but it's still, I want to play as the cool Gundam.
You know what? I'm not sure if G Gundam is in there.
Maybe just overstepping.
Because I was about to say, some of those designs they get in trouble for. Some of those designs are pretty racist. I had a conversation with Elon about this. He was what's that really racist Gundam series? And I was it's G Gundam. And he's like, why was it racist? I'm because Mermaid Gundam from Neo Mexico has a sombrero
Zebra
on his
Gundam
chest.
from Africa. Just saying.
Oh my god.
So the playable units from Versus are from Mobile Suit Gundam series, Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, which no surprise there. Mobile Suit Double Zeta, no surprise there. Char's Counterattack, Unicorn, Mobile Suit F91, which I don't know as well. Mobile Suit Victory Gundam, Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, and it's the Endless Waltz one. It's all the customs. My God, maybe not so much. I mean, we have Wing Zero, we have Death Scythe Death Scythe Hell H, which is I think the custom version. We have Heavy Arms Custom, Sandrock Custom. We have Ultron, which I think is the custom version. We have Epion, Tallgeese 2, and Tallgeese. Here we go. Another series. Turn A Gundam. Gundam Seed. Gundam 00.
Oh wait, it's just Seed, not Seed
Destiny.
Because Seed Destiny is just...
We have a Gundam series I have no idea about. I've never heard of this. It's Gundam Recognosceta in G, something like that. They have three. They have three.
Oh,
they have
shit.
Iron Blood Orphans. They have an 8th MS team, and they have Thunderbolt and Stardust Memory, which is dope. Missing Link as well.
Okay, that's why it's the Easy 8 Gundam, and then there's from 8th MS team they have Ground Gundam.
Gotcha.
So it's just like the two.
They have
types. Which
ton,
honestly though,
a ton of stuff from.
Oh, and then for their Zaku, it's the
yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, by the way, if anyone doesn't know, 8th MS team is
it's one of most people's favorite Gundam series because it is the Gundam show that has no Gundams in it, no major Gundams, no like.
Yeah, it's not about like, oh, he's got a special, god unit. It's just like, oh, Gundams are just giant soldiers.
It is the front. This is also very depressing. It is the story of a frontline team in the midst of a war, and them surviving through it all. Yeah.
So what I was gonna say though is, if they want to, the problem is with the Gundam games too, is you can't customize these Gundams really, and so what it comes down to is it's like. A lot of people are like, oh, this is the robot game I've always wanted. Really? I'm like, is it really? Or is it the Armored Core game you really want, but you're just not getting Armored Core? Because I know a lot of people who like Gundam, who like Armored Core. And actually, if Armored Core came out now with a game, I'd buy it. I'd play it. Like, because that game takes the great part about giant robot games, which is it's about a story. And they make the story interesting because of the fact that you have access to giant robots. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like, let me tell you right now, the plot to Armored Core 3 was that humanity fucked up the Earth so bad we all went underground. And we had giant cities underground that could facilitate robots that were like the size of skyscrapers. And we controlled them with psychic powers. That's insane.
Looking at this list, I am actually happy to see... Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt being a part of this, and it's the two main units in it: the full armor Gundam, and then the Psycho Zaku.
Nice.
That thing is it's one of those. If you've never seen Thunderbolt, you should do it. You should actually check it out because Thunderbolt's actually like a really cool like hour-long movie. Full with like great music.
And to be real for a second, Psycho Zaku is what would happen if America made a robot.
Yeah.
It'd be armed to the teeth. Like everyone's like, oh, that'd be Heavy Arms. Like, no, Heavy Arms is really conservative compared to Psycho Zaku.
And also the system that they fucking like, do to that person. Like literally, the person is integrated into the mobile suit. That thing is a fucking travesty and a nightmare and a terrifying fucking thing. It's a Zaku, and when we look, like, if you've watched any of the original Gundam franchise, this is a Zaku that probably would kick the shit out of Char's Custom. Like, puts it to shame. And that was like, for the long time, the quintessential fucking thing. this thing outclasses it by years.
I mean, we're nerds. We're talking about like our favorite Gundam series, right? I mean, we're talking about like Gundams and stuff. And like, oh, you can throw up all of these big names. You have to understand, Gundam is one of the oldest running mecha animes. That it's one of the few ones where it keeps a very simple storyline, which is it's always about war.
It really is.
Not a lot of mechas are actually about war when you look at it. And it's interesting enough because it's like, the Gundams are cool looking, but if you look at the Zaku designs 9 times out of 10 make a lot more sense.
There's only one Gundam series where the opposing enemies units looked kind of goofy as shit, but also were sensible, and that would be the 00 series. Like the other companies in their kind of flagship mobile suits that they were creating make sense. And you're right, Shane. The Zaku's do make sense because of how heavily armored they are. They are bulky. They look like what you would expect a soldier to be, and the Gundams look clearly unarmored. And a lot of the times, there are exceptions, but they look like weird people.
But I mean, they're designed to be flashy. Yeah, I mean, also, just a side note, because it's we've been talking about video games, right? I want a good Gundam game on console. I would take Super Robot Wars.
Oh, dude,
at this point,
I'd love a Super. I'd actually that would be a cool one to actually, because the Super Robot Wars series has always been very sprite based. That would be one if you kind of make it 3D but still keep the same thing. It would look sexy. It would look really cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, you just make it all 3D. Scale everything up so it's not small, and just make it a tactics game. Game would be great.
Real sweet.
And then it could also be goofy as fuck, because then you could have all your stupid robots like
Big
O.
Dude, if Big O was in there with fucking Gurren Lagann and Zoids and shit, that would be I'd kind of ooze excitement, just literally ooze excitement.
Oh god. I mean, I would love to see King Gainer.
Dude, yeah.
I haven't seen I would love to see King Gainer team up with someone, or even get the robots from Gadvar.
There are a hell of a lot of robots that they can pull from, and there are more these days. There have been a lot more. So, there's a new fresh pile that you can kind of choose from and actually use and have. So it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. One other thing, because I'm continuing my Dead by Daylight trilogy here. The game I've been playing a lot is Dead by Daylight, and the big thing is, we're gonna end after this. I've played it. I played against Freddy Krueger.
How?
That was the
Is it
devil.
worse than the scientist?
Oh my god. Okay, so Freddy's ability is Dream Demon. Freddy is invisible to the players at all times until he pulls them into the dream world.
Lord.
Freddy cannot interact with players who aren't in the dream world.
That's fair.
So that's good. Yeah, so here's the problem. You can't see what direction Freddy's coming from, and you don't get a heartbeat. Instead, you hear the fucking little children singing his song. And you don't get a heartbeat until the fucker pulls you into the dream world. And once he starts pulling you in, you have about 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds before you get pulled in. And the thing is, when that happens, you'll see him a little bit. And he just pops out of nowhere. And he's terrifying. Because once you're in the dream world, you do everything slow. You do everything 3% slower, and it's terrifying. And you have to have someone in the waking world wake you up, or if he hooks you, that wakes you up.
All right.
And so my first game against him, I was like, okay, I know how he works, but to see it in action, because I couldn't track him, and I was like, fuck, I don't know how to fight something I can't see. And then I watched. So ready, he was chasing someone, and they were in the dream world, right? And basically, the side of the dream world is the person's heads on their shoulders, like they're nodding off. And so he knocks them down, and I watch this person fall for no reason, and then I watch them float in the air because Freddy's picked them up. And I'm like, wait, if I can see that, he can see me.
Yep.
And I start running in the other direction. And the thing is, Freddy in the dream world, Freddy can see you. if you're outside his terror
Wow.
radius.
Wow.
So he can always hunt you down if you're in the dream world. And if you're in the real world, he's... By the way, the dream world is super fucking bright.
Which is a big contrast to the rest of the game.
He's not impeded by the dark.
Huh. Alright.
And, it's just... He's so strong. And it's so scary. Because, like, mechanically, he's broken. And I don't say that like, oh, he's too strong. I say it like, mechanically, I feel like the only thing that really makes him busted is being able to see people outside his terror radius. I think they need to remove that. And I think he'll balance out. Because he's not really super fast. He does have a long lunge, but that's not too bad. But the big issue is that right now the only way to beat him is to pallet warp.
Yeah, that's
which isn't really
boring.
fun. And then on top of it, like, you can't flashlight.
Right, I was gonna say that's pretty broken.
And I think they need to fix that. Yeah, he's just kind of like an unstoppable force. And the other thing is, if he gets all 4 players into the dream world, the only way you can wake yourself up is to fail a skill check.
I think that's cool, but damn, that's brutal.
It's cool. But the thing is, I don't think Freddy should be able to see failed skill checks of Dream World people. Because you can see all failed skill checks otherwise. Like, I don't think Freddy's bad because he's super broken. I think he's broken because he doesn't have enough negative drawbacks to all of his positives. Also, I got to see his... I watched a video where someone who plays a lot of Dead by Daylight got fucked over by his perk. The one that locks you in. Yeah, because what happened was he was like, oh man, we're going to make it out, and it's going to be great. And then it cuts to the clip where the developers talk about the perk. And as he's running out, the fucking barricade comes up. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And then they all lose because he just, like, slaughters them all because they can't get out of the thing fast enough.
It's so fucked up.
Yeah, so... Freddy Krueger, everybody. He's pissed a lot of people off.
It definitely sounds like he needs a bit of a nerf.
Actually, the whole Halloween event apparently was nothing but Freddy's, but I was just playing Michael Myers because it was Halloween. So I was like, why do something out of character? Cool. So that's it for me.
Sounds good. Sounds good indeed. We should probably call. All right. Yeah.
It's been about an hour.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for listening. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. If it's on our website, give us a comment. And, if it's Facebook, give us a share, please. And if you always appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And if you have any feedback,
please give us it. Also,
give it to us.
If you did get a chance to check out the Paris Games Week, what excited you? We'd love to hear it.
Oh yeah, totally. Paris Games Week was awesome. What are you really waiting for?
Yeah.
All right, and with that, we are good.
Deuces.
Later days.